Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Peer Inward. It's Friday, April 3rd, 2020. My name is John Sunyo and I'm going to be doing a solo show today, at least for the news section. And then I'll be joined by my girlfriend Bree in talking about personal things, what I've been playing, what she's been playing, what I've been watching. So let's get started. And first up is Super Mario Remasters are rumored to come in 2020. Various sources have disclosed to Video Games Chronicle that Nintendo intends to celebrate Super Mario's 35th anniversary this year by releasing remastered versions of the franchise's past games on the Switch. Nintendo will reveal plans to re-release most of Super Mario's 35-year back catalog this year, says the report by Andy Robinson. It is unclear as to whether this indicates that most of Super Mario's library will indeed be released this year, or that Nintendo is planning on the reveal of the remasters by and of themselves while re-releasing few titles throughout 2020. According to the aforementioned Video Games Chronicle, Eurogamer and Gamatsu, re-releases of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario 3D World with new content, and a new entry in the Paper Mario series are in development. Super Mario Bros. Was originally released for the NES in Japan on September 13, 1985. Bravely Default 2 is a second-party title from Square Enix with a release window of 2020, while the furthest first-party release date in Nintendo's lineup is May 29, 2020 for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So this news came a day or two before April Fool's, and there was an April Fool's joke or rumor regarding Flipnote Studio coming to the Switch. And that was met with a lot of backlash, but that was reported in a different way than these rumored Super Mario re-releases are. And that what stands out to me is I haven't really heard much of Video Games Chronicle, but Eurogamer and Gamatsu, to me, are credible outlets. Eurogamer also some sort of association with Digital Foundry. They really know their stuff. They also did a collaboration with Microsoft in talking about their hardware specs for Xbox Series X. And Gamatsu, known for being really focused on the actual Japanese side of the games industry, translating everything on top of being a reliable outlet. So with these two, how do you say, corroborating or quasi-corroborating this rumor, I find it easier to believe. Although clearly it wasn't officially announced, so this comes before April Fool's, so makes me somewhat hesitant to believe, somewhat wary. Yeah, like I wrote in at the end of this article, as far as I can remember, the furthest title that Nintendo has is there's nothing even in the summer, and it's not even a completely original game. It's a remaster of a sort of a 10-year-old game. There's nothing really known that's coming out later this year. Maybe more remasters. Although I hope that there are other things down the line this year that Nintendo has up their sleeves, other than just re-releases. But I wouldn't mind a Metroid Prime re-release. Yeah, as for the games, I played a little bit of Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, and Mario 3. Actually, I played a little bit of all of these, Super Mario 3D World, but I never really finished them. The Mario games have not really been in the forefront of my mind when thinking of Nintendo. It's usually been Metroid, Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing. Yeah, so we'll see. E3, which is canceled, should have been at the beginning of June, and it's April, so that's essentially 2 months away. So maybe in place of in E3, all these companies, including Nintendo, are going to want to still get their word out on their upcoming releases for the holiday. And yeah, maybe in about 2 months' time, we'll find out if this is real or not find out anything at all. I feel like the first one they would release, it would be interesting to see if this is true, which one they would release first. If they would release this in chronological release order, Super Mario 64 first, would they release the DS version of that, which was known for having more playable characters and more collectibles than the original game? That would be my question. My question would be for actually most of these games. Mario 64 for Mario Sunshine, with the analog controls on the GameCube, which were never seen in a Nintendo console again, and Super Mario Galaxy, where there were motion controls, especially with the Switch Lite being out and not having any motion controls. I actually don't know if the Switch Lite has motion controls or a gyroscope. And then moving on, The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed. Sony Interactive Entertainment has delayed the release of The Last of Us Part 2, which was previously scheduled to launch on May 29th. The publisher refrained from assigning the game a new release date, citing that logistically the global crisis is preventing us from providing the launch experience our players deserve. Following the delay's announcement, the game's developer, Naughty Dog, said on Twitter, "The good news is we're nearly done with development of The Last of Us Part 2. We are in the midst of fixing our final bugs. However, even with us finishing the game, we were faced with the reality that due to the logistics beyond our control, we couldn't launch The Last of Us Part 2 to our satisfaction. We want to make sure everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we're doing everything possible to preserve the best experience for everyone." The Last of Us Part 2 was revealed at PlayStation Experience 2016. The game was later given a release date of February 21st, 2020, but was delayed by several months to May 29th. Sony did not comment on Ghost of Tsushima, scheduled to launch on June 26, but the company added in a follow-up statement that there are currently no other established delays. Now this is interesting so alongside The Last of Us Part 2, Sony also delayed Iron Man VR. So it's interesting that Last of Us was delayed, but not Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe it's multiple factors. Maybe Naughty Dog truly is not quite ready to release the game because, as it says here, they're essentially done with the game and supposed to be coming out in about 2 months from now. And even before that, the game has got to go gold before that for pressing on discs. But I feel like with the state of the world right now, with retail stores like GameStop being closed down, places like Best Buy only doing curbside pickup, other sellers of games, it's not gonna really help with sales of the game. Even though over the years, as time has gone on, digital has been more and more popularized over physical games. So it was supposed to come out May 29th with Ghost of Tsushima for June 26th. Maybe Sony is thinking that this whole pandemic will die down or at least be alleviated enough by the time Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to come out. They note that currently there are no other delays to announce. So that tells me that they're open to delaying Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, they're clearly open to delaying a game, as it is with The Last of Us Part 2. But it'll be interesting to see that they have. I'm assuming Ghost of Tsushima. This means that there's going to be a chance that Ghost of Tsushima comes out before The Last of Us. I really doubt that they're going to release The Last of Us in June, in the same month as Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think they've ever really done that with. They've done that with Sony has done that with their first party titles before, but not with marquee first party titles. With Spider-Man came out in the fall, and then I think God of War came out in the spring of the same year, or it was Spider-Man in the fall, and then Horizon Zero Dawn in the spring of the same year. Very different, very set apart for both games to breathe from the same publisher. And then already here, originally before this indefinite delay, we had The Last of Us essentially 1 month away from Ghost of Tsushima. Unless they also push Ghost of Tsushima, I highly doubt that they're going to place The Last of Us into June. Yeah, it's possible that they maybe put The Last of Us into June and then push Ghost of Tsushima outward, which would kind of be fucking over the Ghost of Tsushima because we still have a holiday release of Sony's next console. Or it's even possible that The Last of Us gets pushed to June, Ghost of Tsushima gets pushed maybe to July or further out, and then that's it. Or maybe those two things happen, and in addition to that, the PS5 itself gets pushed back. I mean, we've seen the Switch release in March, and that has done well. So it's very possible that PS5 will be delayed too. I mean, I think this is the first high caliber release in games that I can recall that's being majorly affected by what's going on. I mean, you've had something like Minecraft Dungeons, which was delayed, but two things about that are different from The Last of Us is that Minecraft is a smaller game and it was delayed with an actual date, a new date in mind, whereas The Last of Us is one of the most important titles in Sony's lineup, and there's no release date given, not even an estimate. I'm actually very excited for Ghost of Tsushima. I think a little bit more than The Last of Us, but I'm still very excited for The Last of Us Part 2. I don't think I'm going to replay the original because I just I just don't give a fuck. Yep, so that's it for the news this week. And after this, I'm going to have Bree on to talk with me about what we've been up to. All right, so I have Bree Lee joining me to talk about what we're doing personally.
Hello. Should I say hello? Is that something I should do?
Mm-hmm. Haven't you heard podcasts?
Yeah, I have. So hello.
I'll start first with what I've been watching. Haven't been watching a lot. Just the two shows that I've mentioned before, Westworld and Kamen Rider. And Westworld, I actually just watched episode 3 of season 2 today. The layout that they have for season 2 is quite different from season 1 in that there's a lot of actually not that quite different because I was going to say that there are a lot of flashbacks, a lot of scenes that are playing out that you wouldn't really know are not current in the actual timeline. And also, it's hard to tell if some of the new characters that you're seeing are humans or if they are the quote hosts, which are the cyborg people. Or not cyborg, but the artificial people.
See, I know absolutely nothing about this show, so you saying all of this is interesting.
So Westworld is actually the name of a park in the show. It's this park where it has a bunch of things called hosts that are not real people. They're created not organically, like through DNA. They're created mechanically, but if you were not told that they were artificial, you would believe that they're real people. That's how realistic they are. And so these rich people, they go to this park called Westworld where they could just do anything they want. they mention a lot of times throughout the show that a lot of people just come here to fuck or kill whoever they come across. They fuck or kill them because you could just
It's
kill any.
lawless.
Yeah, like the Wild West. And the hosts themselves, they're programmed to actually not kill you. So they can they can shoot at you, but it's just going to be like a BB gun or an airsoft gun.
Mm.
It'll just leave a little bruise on you. It's not going to actually kill you. But further on in the show, these things that man has created, as you see in a lot of stories, they start to turn on them and start realizing that they were created and that what they were given, what they think they are, is not natural. It was just fabricated for them. And at the end of the this episode was really interesting because so most of the show has been in a Western kind of environment. But then at the end of this episode, where they're trying to travel throughout the park, it turns out that there are different sections of the park that represent different regions of the world or time periods. And this one, it had a fucking samurai charging at them. It was
Oh.
no dude with a revolver. So I'm really excited to see the next episode.
Well, I feel so out of the loop because I know that this is a really popular show, and this is one of the few things that you watch that I don't also watch, or that I haven't watched. And my parents really like the show, so or my dad specifically really likes the show, so it's interesting to hear about it.
Does anyone else watch it?
No, I think just he does. My mother watched the first season, I think.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
But not the second one?
No, he does though.
How
I
about Devin?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It seems like something, if you read a ton of books, Westworld seems like something Devin would like.
Because Devin reads a lot of books.
Well, actually, you too, because you like reading.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's just that each episode is an hour long, so I have to really sit down as opposed to something like Castlevania, which is just 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to watch the new season of that. I really liked that show.
Oh, well, I'm watching through season 2.
Oh, so you're almost there, so then we can start watching season 3.
Did you already finish season 2?
I think we watched it together, didn't we?
Well, I don't know if, we didn't finish it because I've been watching episodes in season 2 that I don't remember.
I'll have to watch through it again and see if I remember any of them then.
Yeah, season 1 just has 4 episodes, and then season 2, I think, has 8.
Oh, so it's short. But speaking of shows, I texted Mary. She asked me if I had seen this show on Netflix. She's watching this Netflix documentary series, and it's about this guy named Joe. The show's called Tiger King, and this guy named Joe, he's an exotic zookeeper, and he runs this feline zoo in Oklahoma, which specializes in big cats, which is indicative of the name of the show, which is Tiger King. And I guess this documentary follows him for like 5 years, and she said it's just really crazy. And it's so funny because the way she was describing it, she was really trying to sell it to me because she's like, it's this dude, his name's Joe. He's a really interesting guy who runs this exotic zoo. And she said that everybody around her in her circle has been talking about it and she wasn't really interested, but when she gave it a try, she was hooked on it. So I think I'm gonna give it a shot.
I heard Queer DJ talking about it.
Oh, so you've heard of it too?
Yeah, and then also on podcasts that I listen to.
Oh my gosh, so I really am out of the loop. I don't know anything about Westworld. I had never heard about this show. I just, wow, I'm so uncultured.
Well, I hear about a lot of shows, I just choose not to watch them.
Oh. Well, this seems like something I would like, especially since I watched that vet show with my sister. I don't even know what that show's called. It's Doctor. I know that the main doctor is Doctor K. Doctor K.
I
Vet.
thought you were watching it with your mom.
Oh, I watch it with my mom too, but Madison and I have been watching it as well. It's called Doctor K's Exotic Animal ER, and it's you watch it through Disney Plus, I think.
Is it gory? You have Disney Plus?
Um, my mom does. I just found that out because I didn't know this was through Disney Plus until this morning. Or not this morning, this evening, when I watched it this evening.
How long has she had it?
I don't know. I'll have to ask her.
Oh, well, we
But
can finish The Mandalorian
oh
then.
yes, that's another show that was really good. But I really like this Doctor K show. It's not it's gory, I mean, in the sense that they show them doing the surgeries on the animals, but it's not, like, disgusting a lot, like, it's not to the point where I get disgusted when I'm watching it, and if it is too graphic, then I just turn my head. But all of the animals are so well, it specializes in exotics, so it's not dogs and cats getting treated there, it's lizards and birds and everything in between. And
And
some people bring
rhinos.
in people bring in fucking wild animals that they've
Sperm
decided to
whales.
keep as pets. Now you're just being silly. But somebody brought in a lynx. Have you ever seen a lynx?
Yeah, I play Young Link in Smash Brothers right now.
John, you know what I mean. The
Yeah, the
animal.
cat with the too much hair at the tip of its ear.
Yes, yeah. Somebody had one of those as a pet, which was just so stupid. It was so funny because the vet was throwing so much shade at them in the asides. You know when, like, you're watching a reality show and they'll be doing, like, the scene, and then in the post scenes, like, they'll have the main character or the main person talking about that specific scene. You know what I'm talking about?
Like an interview.
Yeah, exactly. She was throwing so many jabs at the owner of that lynx. She's like, "I don't agree with keeping these as pets. These are wild animals, but I am dedicated to my profession and I'm gonna treat any animal that fits through my door." It was just so
Yeah, she can say that, but she fucking loves that shit for her show. That's what her show is all about.
I totally disagree. 'Cause majority of the time, the show just shows animals like birds and rabbits and guinea pigs, animals that are actually, like, usually pets.
What's the show called? Exotic Vet? Those aren't
Yeah.
exotic animals.
Yeah, they are. Anything that's not a dog or a cat is considered exotic. Like, when I had Zim, he was considered an exotic, we had to take him to an exotic vet. Or even the guinea pigs. When my mom had guinea pigs, we had to take those to an exotic vet.
Oh, I think that's a dramatic classification of those.
Well, it's not because those aren't domesticated animals. A lizard's not domesticated, and neither is like a bird. Those aren't domesticated.
So there are two kinds of pets, exotic and domesticated.
Well, I mean, if you want to be black and white, yes. Like there are some animals like a I don't know where a guinea pig necessarily falls, but I mean, you can take a guinea pig to a vet that treats dogs and cats, but that's not their specialty. There are some veterinary clinics that are specialized in animals that aren't dogs and cats. Like, you take your frog or your turtle to one of those vets, not to just the regular vet. I mean, I could be completely glossing over all of the logistics of it, but in my experience, you take those animals to an exotic vet.
So if you had a pet worm that was dying, you'd take that exotic worm to that
Well, I
show.
don't think you would take a worm. A worm isn't in like, I don't think they're gonna treat a worm.
Well, that's kind of racist.
No,
That's not the way of the whatever the code of the healthcare provider is.
as long as it fits through the door. Um, I don't think they would treat a worm. You wanna talk about Kamen Rider?
We watched together. So Kamen Rider is what we've been watching together. during this lockdown. And we just watched episode 4, which was Man Eating Saracenian. I don't know what
Saracenia.
that is, but it's a plant.
Yeah, it's the plants that are carnivorous. They look like little pots. They're flowers, I think. But they have this sticky liquid inside, if I'm not mistaken. And it's very aromatic and it attracts prey like insects. It's kind of like a Venus flytrap, but different looking. And
But from a different planet, like
yeah,
Earth.
exactly. It yeah, but
It's an Earth flytrap. Yeah, so far these episodes have been formulaic.
yes, very much so. You can pretty much you I feel like you're not watching it for the plot though, because you know what happens. I think you just watch it for the action scenes and the costume design. It's very dramatic.
These screenplays are never gonna get a Golden Globe or
No,
whatever you call it.
absolutely not.
But not everything you watch has to be something that Leonardo DiCaprio would kill to have a role in.
Right. It's just a really out there movie. I mean, not movie, show. It's really what's that word for it? There's a Japanese word, it starts with a T. Like, Godzilla falls under that category.
Oh, Tokusatsu?
Yes, yes. It's kind of in that realm.
What it definitely is.
Yeah, and there's another word, like, it's kind of kitschy. Is that how you say it? Kitsch?
That's not Japanese.
No, it's not. But it's just something it's old, you can tell that it's old. It's kind of not Twilight Zoney because it's not, like it doesn't have the same vibe as the Twilight Zone, with, like, the twist at the end, but it's kind of got that weird feel to it.
It's when entertainment was corny as hell and no one ever thought. It's before fucking it. Yeah.
That was so profound. But I agree, it was before it was when acting and all of yeah, it's hard to explain. It's a very
When people did not know the difference between theater acting and film acting.
but it's just very dramatic. The costume design is just it's not very good, but it's good for the show. Like, it's just a very entertaining show.
Well, it's very creative for
Yeah, very creative.
just having some paint and duct
Like
tape.
paper mache. Yeah, exactly. So I commend the costume designers and that the main character, he has a very personality in a good way.
Very what
Yeah,
personality?
strong. He has a strong presence on the show.
Yeah, he almost killed a kid. He almost broke his hands off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting show. I recommend it. I love how you thought that I would like it, cause just on the basis that it's really weird and out there. It's very much on brand for me.
Okay, and then we've also been playing Animal Crossing together and also just by ourselves.
Yes.
That's the only game I've been playing. I've been wanting to get back into Castlevania, the original Castlevanias, but haven't really done that yet. What have you been up to in Animal Crossing?
Well, let me think. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before that my resident services came in, which was I know that that's kind of a turning point in the game where then you start to have a lot more leeway with design over your island. And then I've just been collecting they're fucking the eggs are everywhere. Like, I see a little present coming down from or I see the little shadow of the present. Let's say I'm hacking away at a rock or cutting down some cherry trees, and I see the little shadow of the present, and I get excited because 'cause I'm like, "Ooh, maybe this is gonna be some mystery furniture." And that shit disappoints me so much when I see that it's the egg. My heart just sinks. I'm so disappointed. And then I've crafted everything that I have available to me under this egg umbrella where 'cause I don't know if I have all of the recipes or if I'm gonna even acquire all of the recipes, but I was under the impression that if I've finished all of those, crafts, that I would get something in return from that bunny. What's his name? Zipper?
Hmm.
So I've been doing that. I have yet to go on a mystery island that has bamboo, which I'm disappointed about. And then oh, I caught a clownfish today, and I also caught a Madagascar moth or something, and that was worth a lot.
Oh, I haven't even seen a Madagascar moth.
Oh, it's blue and orange. It's kind of got, a gradient to it.
The angriest moth or butterfly?
I said it has a gradient to it. Oh, it's very angry, though. I'm sure it was angry that I caught it.
Well, there's a butterfly called Agnius or something like that, Angrius, and that's worth a lot of bells.
Oh. Well, I did not catch that, but I did catch a clownfish and a butterfly fish. Have you caught a clownfish?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh,
And I gave it to Blathers. And I caught another one and I think I sold it. I forgot if it was worth a lot.
I caught a seahorse again, but I didn't give it to my neighbor because my neighbor wanted a seahorse, but I did not give it to him. I just sold it because I don't really like that neighbor. Anyway, what have you done in Animal Crossing today since we did not play together?
I think I told you already, but I just worked on rearranging my flowers and putting some imperial fencing around it. And my bridge, my golden Zen bridge, I already paid it off last night. So I was just using that instead of the vaulting pole.
I need to do that. I really want to get my town or my island in order so it can actually look like a town instead of just a scattering of buildings and houses.
Once the terraforming comes in, then that's when it'll really open up. Because even though you add bridges, there are some parts where you want to add bridges, but the two sides of a river, they're kind of craggly or they're shaped in a weird way. And then you're also eventually able to add pavement to your island.
Oh, I've seen that before on Reddit. I just don't even know how I'm going to organize my village yet.
Well, you could just do it little by little and do minute adjustments.
I know, but I'm such a planner. I have to engineer this island. I will say though that I'm really satisfied with how my interior design of my house has come along. It is very pleasing aesthetically, as much as I hate saying that. I think it's a very good representation of my taste. You've seen it. Can you attest to this? With pretend like
Yeah,
you didn't see it with that shitty ass wallpaper with all the windows on it. Just pretend like it was the brown wooden wallpaper.
I don't remember what it looks like before that, the wallpaper.
Well, just in terms of like the decor, I think it looks pretty good. I think your house looks nice too.
Thanks. I really want to get the Mabel sisters into town because I'm not really satisfied with what I have to wear.
They haven't come in yet?
Only one of them, but they eventually move in with their own building instead of just the little stand outside of the
Oh, I
resident
already
services.
have that. I already have the building.
Um, I was trying to look up how to get that. Do you have to maybe buy a certain amount of bells worth of clothes from them?
Maybe. I did buy stuff from her 2 days in a row, and I bought multiple things because I found a lot of things I like. But yesterday when I went to the, because I've had the store, the actual physical store for about 3 or 4 days now, and yesterday when I went in, I didn't see anything I liked, and so I only bought socks just because I wanna have more clothes. The selection of clothes was pretty dismal yesterday, but today I bought an entire outfit from which is that's pretty formal attire compared to the rest of my wardrobe, which I'm satisfied with. It's like a little blouse, a white ruffle blouse with green pants and brown little flats. It's a very cute outfit. It's kind of Madewell-esque, I would say,
Or Target-esque?
or Target-esque. It's higher than Target, but Target has, really upped their game in terms of clothes. I really approve of Target clothes, especially the brand they carry called A New Day. That's a good brand. I think a lot of people overlook Target. I think Target's starting to get their a decent amount of attention now. Like, people are starting to realize that their clothes have been upgraded, but I remember there was a day when I was in elementary school and Target was like the staple place for me. That and Mervyn's. That's where my mom always took me to get clothes, and my grandma. And I remember back then Target just had like Exhilaration and Mosimo, or however the fuck you say that weird ass brand.
Massimo?
Mossimo, and that was the dark age of Target. Target is starting to enter a new age of fashion, and I'm
A New Day?
yeah, A New Day, and then what's the other brand? There's another one that's very boho, and I'm not really a boho, so I'm not really down with it, but A New Day is very.
What's boho?
You know what people wear this is very exaggerated because I don't think it's really this bad anymore. People don't really do this anymore at Coachella, but what people wore in Coachella in like 2015, 2014, like very trying to be bohemian, like kind of hippie-ish mixed with like deserty kind of vibes. Like what my mom wears is kind of yeah, like Free People. My mom is kind of eclectic though. So some of the stuff she wears is boho, but like Free People is very boho. I don't fuck with Free People. Not that they're a bad brand, they're very pricey. They're a good brand in terms of like quality, I assume, just by the price point, but I've never owned anything by Free People, so I can't really speak on it. Hence why I don't shop from them because of their that sentence didn't make sense. It's just not my style, but very boho. I'm not into boho.
Anything else you've been up to that you wanna talk about?
Well, I've been running more lately since the gym is closed, which is really an interesting. This is gonna sound so pompous if I say an interesting journey because it's not very long that I've been running again, but it's
Yeah, not very long because you're doing better in your mile runs.
yeah. I used to run in high school, and so I'm starting to get back into running again. And I overpronate when I run, and because of the coronavirus, the running stores are closed, so I
What does that
can't
mean?
go. When you overpronate,
Mhm.
it's when your ankles kind of roll in when you run. That causes unnecessary when you run, your ankle I could be speaking out of ignorance but from my understanding, when you run, your ankles are supposed to strike parallel to your knee and your hips, I think. And if you pronate,
Oh,
specifically
if
if
you
you
pronate, you're like
overpronate,
a flamingo.
well, when you're a flamingo, you just stand on your leg and you balance. They're still parallel. So that causes unnecessary stress, specifically on your shins. And so, like, when you get shin splints, you can either get shin splints on the front of your shin, that's where like, a lot of people will get it, or you can get it on the side of your shin, that's called posterior shin splints, and that's what I have currently because I overpronate and because of the coronavirus, I can't go get fitted for new stability running shoes. I just have my Brooks Ghosts shoes, which I love, but they're starting to get worn out. I've had them for like a year, and plus my inserts are a little worn out, so it's a little tender on my left, only my left shin, the posterior shin. So I've been babying it, wearing a lot of KT, not a lot, but I've been wearing KT tape every day and icing it, rolling it out, elevating it, Epsom salt baths.
I assume when you said pronate, overpronate, you're just drinking too much of a protein shake.
I'm I'm over proteined. I have too much protein. That's why my shins are fucked right now. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. But today I ran and I did not have pain, which is good. I was very trying to be very conscious. yeah, cautious of the shin pain.
Conscious?
Well, I was trying to be, yeah, conscious and cautious. Like, while I was running, I was trying to take the necessary precautions to prevent pain. Like, I was really trying to keep good form, and I told myself that I didn't have to run. If I felt pain, I could stop. Because I tend to just push through the pain because I don't like to stop. I don't like to quit. But it's not really quitting if your body is telling you to stop, because then you're gonna end up
You don't have to call it quit, you can just call it wrap up the day.
wrap up the day, having to take an early wrap up. But as you know, I'm very thrilled about that. You know, I've been very enthusiastic about getting back into running. So that's what I've been doing, and painting.
Your time today was something like 8:36,
Yeah,
and then previously it was 9:10.
yeah. That's so embarrassing.
It was something like 9:36.
No, it was 8:55 last time I ran, which was 2 days. I let myself have 2 rest days because they were really hurting 2 days ago, and it was like
What was
8
the time when you first sent me? It was something like 9
it was
something.
9:10. It was 9:10, which is so far off from what I used to do in high school. But that was like
Yeah, when I was in high school, I used to be able to do it in 4 minutes.
really
How were you able to do it in high school?
like 6:50 was my best.
Wow. All I remember was that in elementary school, my fat ass did it in 12 minutes and 45 seconds.
Were you actually trying?
I don't remember. Well, actually, I think I was, but I remember my asthma was kicking in. I can feel it's hard to describe it to someone who hasn't had asthma, but my asthma was kicking in and it was painful.
Well, that's a justification for why you didn't do too hot.
It's so weird when your asthma starts kicking in. It feels kind of like inside of your lungs, almost like it's wet. Or, I don't know, it's like the beginning of wanting to cough. But even if you actually force a cough, that cough that you're forcing is not even helping the right issue.
Well, I'm very grateful that I can't relate to that feeling, but that sounds awful.
Well, that's good that you're doing better. Do you think it's possible to get back to 6 minutes again?
Well, I never ran 6 minutes, and 6:50 was my 6:50. I wasn't that good. I was in high school, I mean, I did cross country, but I wasn't a very good member of my team. Like, I wasn't as serious as I should have been with it. I didn't my coach when he would tell me how to handle injury, and I didn't have the best diet, and I wasn't as in tune with my body. So 6:50 was like my best. My average was like 7:15, 7:20 is what I usually ran at. And then I would run that for I was very inconsistent with that pace. Like I would very, very widely in a run with that pace. So if I was doing a longer run, like let's say I was doing like a 6+ mile run, I definitely was not holding a 7:15 or a 7:20 pace that entire time. That's really impressive. That's not what I was doing.
Not even let alone a 1080 pace or 4K.
John, you're silly. Yeah, so just doing 1 mile back then was nothing, especially in the context of doing like a long workout, they would be like 8 miles. So I wasn't holding that pace for 8 miles.
With Eminem.
Jean, your jokes. But yeah, that's all. What about you? Anything else you want to add?
No, I just so spring break for Los Rios is supposed to be this coming week, and we're having an exam in my math class. So she opened it on April 1st, and then it's gonna close on April 6th, I think. So we have plenty of time to do it. We just have to, after we submit it, within 30 minutes of that, we have to submit on Canvas a PDF showing our work.
Oh. That's good that you have time.
And there's nothing she can really do about it, so I think that's why she's allowing us to use our notes. Just she doesn't want us to work with anyone. So especially if I'm gonna have my notes, which I'm been really able to detail because I take notes on a tablet with a pen, I feel like I can do a lot better. Because on the previous exam I did really well. So I'll probably do good in this one. And this one is only one chapter too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but that's it for me in terms of what I've been doing.
Me
And
too.
yeah, I'm just staying inside. I feel like this is one of those things where the people you know, this is how you can judge them. Or not really judge, but this is how you can ascertain about their character. Whether they care enough or whether they're apathetic to working as a team with the entire world in staying at home.
I agree.
Even more so when any given person knows that they're healthy and then they do these things. They do these things socially, physically socially.
I agree, but I think as this has progressed, I think people are taking it more seriously, and as closures are being extended, I think people are realizing, "Oh shit, we have to really try to limit contact with other people if we're gonna make this more controlled sooner." But I don't think I think at this point people are knowing not to do social things. Like, I don't think people are going out and doing really big gatherings or hanging out in groups and
It doesn't really matter if it's a group or not because all it took for this was that one person, not that one group, that one person who had it to give it to, what is it? Hundreds of thousands of people.
well, yeah, in that instance, it was just one person that contributed to everybody eventually getting it who's gotten it. But, I mean, some people still have to go to work, during this time because their jobs are considered essential.
Yeah, you don't want the nurses not going to work.
Well,
But for the
yeah.
people who are not nurses, for the people who are not at the grocery stores, I don't think they're really a part of the conversation in terms of staying at home or not. I mean, when they're not working, they should definitely be staying at home.
Right. I agree.
I read this article this morning about how there are these analysts that think that AMC is going to, I forgot what it was. I think it was that AMC is believed at this rate to shut down, or what do you call it?
Go out of business, go bankrupt.
Go out of business.
I believe it. This is definitely having an impact on businesses negatively. All of the businesses, like retail, for example, a lot of clothing stores and just other retailers are slashing their prices in the hopes that people are going to buy things because they need the business. It's just strange times right now. That's all I can say.
All right, and that's all I can say too. So this has been episode 11 of Peer Inward. My name is John Sunyo, and thank you for joining me, Bree. My
Yeah, of
poop.
course. Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right, well, anyone for that one ear listening, thank you, and have a good night.